Welcome back to Inside Argos Soccer. I'm here with Terry Umbaugh, class of 1965. Before we get going, I want to thank our sponsors, Beamer's Drive-In and American Engineering. Thank you for helping us put this together and get this out to y'all. So, Terry, how you doing?
I'm doing just fine.
Awesome. A little background on Terry. He played on the first ever Argus soccer team formed in 1963. So all these guys we've talked to, this is where it all started. We get into the mind of where it all started. He was co-captain on the 64 team that went undefeated. They were 7-0-1. And a little more background on this program start. Back in 63, the Argus basketball coach, Ralph Powell, he was just looking for a way to keep his guys in shape. Uh, for a fall sport. Knew the Culver Academy had a soccer team as an intramural, thanks to its high population and foreign demographic in the school. And so, after discussions between Argus and Culver Academy, they decided to play the first ever IHSAA sanctioned soccer game in the state. So, yeah, this will be really cool getting to hear from the mind of where it literally all started in 63. So, let's just get rolling. As someone that never played soccer before, what were your thoughts as Coach Powell was working to introduce soccer at Argus?
Well, we were just kind of trying to figure out what it was. You have to remember,
Mm-hmm.
none of us had ever seen a soccer ball, much less kicked one.
Right.
So, to get us somewhat in gear, I think it was the spring before we started to play. He took some of us to CMA, and they
Mm-hmm.
had a little seminar to teach us kind of what soccer was. I remember there's a film with Pele in it, and
Oh,
that's
okay.
how he prepared us for this. And
Cool.
one thing that I don't know that you mentioned, but the reason we were doing this wasn't just for conditioning. It's because
Mm-hmm.
baseball went to a spring sport, so there was nothing else to do.
Gotcha. I didn't know that. So baseball used to be in the fall.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. Gotcha.
Well, then this has been informational, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What led you to want to join that soccer team that was forming?
Well, baseball went away. The
Mm-hmm.
only other sport in the fall was cross country, and that
Mm-hmm.
involved too much pain and not enough reward for me. So I decided to
Right.
choose soccer. Where if I had to run aways, at least I was chasing a ball or bumping into somebody.
Right. Right. Especially basketball players loving just another physical sport. Um, what was it like when you first started practicing and playing up to the very first game? What were the practices like?
A lot of it was conditioning. A lot of it was
Hmm.
just basics. I mean, I can remember being told you don't kick it with your toe, you kick it with your instep. I mean, it was that
Hmm.
basic.
Okay.
So
And
that sort of thing,
yeah,
and learning what's offsides. I mean, that's kind of a new
right,
concept for a basketball
right,
player. And
right.
again, the one thing I wanted to get in here for sure was it was about conditioning. And I
Hmm.
remember going into play basketball after the soccer season that first year and realizing that the basketball court looked like a ping pong table. I mean, you just got up to speed and you were at the other end.
Yeah, yeah. And that was a big thing talking to a lot of those other guys from those older teams in like the 70s and 80s. They were pretty much like, yeah, most of the game was running. We were always fast. Skill, like the actual skill with the ball wasn't developed until later. So we were just faster than everyone else. And that's just how success happened. Um, the game is obvious, like I just said, game has obviously evolved since then. But what position did you play?
I was the right forward, as it was called then.
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. What did your guys' formations look like? What were you playing in?
It was I don't know, the technical term, there were five forwards, three of
Okay.
them in the form of a W. The
Okay.
outside and center forwards were further forward. There were three
Mm,
halfbacks, two fullbacks, and of course the goalie.
mm, okay.
So
Gotcha. So it was more of attacking midfield than defending midfield, if I'm hearing
yeah,
kind of right
we
ish. Like a
yes,
little bit of
yes.
both, but okay.
The three of the forwards were never supposed to go deeper than the center line or further
Gotcha.
back than the center line. So
Gotcha.
I guess we
Okay.
were thinking about scoring and not worrying about being scored upon.
Right. Were there specific tactics that you guys used to use that modern day soccer does not use?
Not that I can think of. We
Okay,
remember we were basic, so we
right,
learned things like, bring it up the side, center it in front of
hmm
the goal, don't kick it across
right.
your own goal. I mean, it was pretty basic stuff.
Yeah. Granted, you guys were seeing the game played for like the first time, so it's hard to really
Well,
extend past those basics, you know?
yeah, we were being playing it for the first time, not seeing playing it.
Oh, right, right.
And
Um,
um,
yeah, yeah, sorry.
yeah, it was basic. I was thinking, like things that my fourth grade granddaughter learns now, we were kind of learning then. We're watching, uh, how those basics about don't kick it across your own goal and stuff like that. That was all new stuff for us.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite game that you played in moment or like just a specific goal that was just your absolute favorite moment while you were playing?
I was thinking, well, it's been a long time, and I can only remember one goal, and that was the first one.
Yeah.
So it was deflected across the face of the goal, and I headed it in. And that's the only goal I ever remember.
So
Um,
you were the first goal in Argus soccer history.
yep.
That is incredible. Wow.
Yeah, I know it. It's kind of hard to work that into a conversation when you meet new people, but I always try.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, and especially with how storied Argus soccer has become. I mean, not only playing in
Yes,
the first
indeed.
game, you scored the first goal. I mean, 4 state titles as well. I mean, that's a huge deal. What were your strengths as a player?
Um, it's hard to imagine that I had a strength, to tell you the truth, but I didn't have a dominant foot. I don't
Okay.
know whether being left-handed made my feet strange that way, but a lot of kids, bringing up my 4-year-old grand or fourth grade granddaughter again, you see them, and we were probably the same way, running around the ball to get your right foot on it.
Hmm.
Our
Gotcha.
little kids play. I'm sure we were the
Hmm.
same way at that age, but I somehow didn't have a dominant foot, so that wasn't a problem. So that was probably it. And like you say, I think with most of us, we were pretty fast as a team, so I think
Yeah.
that helped.
Yeah, absolutely. So on September 18th in 1963, Argus played Culver Academy in the first high school soccer match. Culver Academy won 4-2, but you scored both goals. Okay, scored both goals, making yourself the first goal scorer in Argus. We kind of briefed over that a little bit, but
Yep,
how did
yep.
that make you feel?
Well, at the time, it was pretty cool. I mean,
Right.
we having your school has never scored a goal, so here I got to do the
Mhm.
first one kind of by accident. So, and I don't. It didn't seem that significant at the time, but then again, who knew
Uh-huh.
how significant soccer was going to become?
Right. Absolutely. At the time, you were saying the game became more important like throughout. But did that first game feel important? And was there a thought about like in the locker room or anything you guys kind of felt a little pressure? Like how important was that to you guys that it was the first game?
I, I mean, keep in mind we were like 16, 17 years old.
Right.
I mean, it's a game. We were going to have fun, and
Mm,
I don't think we
mm.
applied a great deal of pressure to ourselves as far as that was
Okay.
concerned. I mean, we were playing CMA. We had fairly limited expectations.
Yeah. Can you describe the feeling in the school, in the town? Was there like what was the excitement levels of there being a new sport in the fall?
I would have to say it was fairly minimal.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
yeah, it's not like there was a big parade or anything.
Yeah.
It was a new sport. It was something to keep us busy, and I think the town probably looked at it as we did, and it was a way to get in shape for basketball. I mean, it's Indiana after all.
Yeah,
So
that's number one. Right. In that first season, Dragon's only opponent was Culver Academy. How early did the rivalry aspect kick in when it came time to playing them again?
it kicked in pretty early because, they were this private school. the perception was they were a bunch of rich kids. We were a bunch of country boys. It was kind of like the Stoners in Hoosiers. I'm not Hoosiers in Breaking Away.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with that movie, it's probably before your time. But anyway, if you've seen it on video, we were the Stoners.
Going into the 64 season, Argus and CMA encouraged Bethany Christian, Divine Heart Academy, and Teft to form your guys' own league. And you were named co-captain of the team alongside your classmate, Jerry Patton. Did the team have any goals heading into the second season, like aspirations just for that year?
Well, we wanted to beat CMA,
That
and
was number one.
that was number one. And then I, I guess you'd have to say that we were naive enough to think we could go undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
If we could beat CMA, we could do that. And
Yeah.
prior to talking to you, I went back and got into the yearbook and didn't realize, other than the Teft games, the other 6 games were really close.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like 1 or 2 goals at the most. So in my memory, we were just kicking everybody across the field. But when I look back on it, it was only Teft.
Yeah. And that's kind of crazy that like all those games were that competitive and it was still an undefeated season.
Right. Well, if I look, the first 2 games, there were 2 goals scored against us in both of those games, and one of them was Teft. Well, I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
the lineup had been changed. Jay was out, so that's probably how I got 1 or 2 of them at least. But the last 6 games, there were only 2 goals scored against us.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't realize that till I looked back. I guess I knew Jay was good, but I didn't know he was that good.
So what made that team in 64, the second season, what made that team so successful?
Um, I like to talk, particularly in comparing it to CMA. They played with finesse, and we played with enthusiasm. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we just got after it, and that was,
Yeah.
we didn't know any better. And in thinking, in watching games later on, like when my brother played, that was 14 years later, so the game had changed, but games became, a lot more finesse for one thing, but also there was this kind of subtle pushing and pulling and stuff that you can do physically that you got away with. Back then, we didn't do that, but you tended to bump into people more. I mean, it was a rougher game, but not as much finesse by any means, at least by us.
Right. In the 65 yearbook, it describes the team as our championship team. There was no postseason tournament. Was that referring to the team just going undefeated, or was there actually a league championship that you won?
No, there was no league.
No? Okay.
We decided that we were state champions. Since
Just claimed it, yeah.
As far as we knew, we were the only team in this state that had gone undefeated.
Yeah.
Because as far as we knew, there were only 4 of us playing, or 5 of us playing.
Right.
So we made that declaration ourselves.
Yeah. Might as well. If no one else is taking it, you might as well.
Right. Well, and maybe we kept it to ourselves so nobody else argued with us.
Right. It's hard to dispute an undefeated record. So, what was the mood of the school and the community during that undefeated run, your senior year?
We were,
because I know you said that like it wasn't very anticipated going into making the program, but was there like a shift for that next year during that run or no?
Not appreciably. I mean, we were excited about it, but I'm not sure the community had embraced it yet. There were certainly no bleachers, and I'm not sure they needed any because I don't remember fans.
Oh.
I mean, I suppose some parents came, but while I was thinking of this also, it made me nostalgic, but I remember in basketball, I don't think my parents ever missed a game, which is surprising because some games they got as much playing time as I did, but they were still there. But I don't remember them ever coming to a soccer game.
Gotcha.
And I actually got to play then.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that was fairly true of the community. It just,
Hmm.
it hadn't caught on. I mean, it's too new for one thing. I
Right.
mean, if we started cricket, would people go to watch it?
Right. Right.
It's a new sport. It takes a while to
Yeah.
get the hang of it.
It's true. Um, Not to mention just how like I didn't get to see it myself, but like back in Argus days of old, just hearing how that gym would pack to the point where people are still standing outside of it. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah. Moving on to Coach Powell. What was it like to play for him?
It was great. I mean, he was a
Hmm.
really nice guy. He, in the case of soccer, I think he was more of a teacher than a coach because we didn't know much about it. And I
Right.
think of him as, you know, I don't know if he had any experience with soccer before then or not. But if he
Hmm.
didn't, I mean, it's not like he could Google it or go to YouTube. I mean, he
Right.
had to somehow figure out how this worked, and he
Hmm.
must have figured it out.
Yeah, I agree.
And
Um, yeah. Sorry.
he,
Go ahead.
oh, and he was really mellow. I mean, he was. I don't remember ever having him raise his voice or whatever in basketball or soccer or anything else that he coached.
Hmm.
Which, as kind of an aside, this doesn't apply to Argus soccer
Yeah.
necessarily, but I was naive enough to think that I could walk on at IU after
Hmm.
when I went down there to college. And I remember being on the freshman field after a week or two,
Hmm.
and the varsity was in the field next to us practicing, and we'd taken a break and we were watching. And all of a sudden they stopped, and Coach Yeagley, I don't know if you remember, associate that with Indiana University, but he was a coach there for 20, 30 years
Okay.
when they won their national championships. Anyway,
Hmm. Yeah.
he lit into this kid that would make Bobby Knight envious. I mean, he's just up one side and down the other. And I'd never seen anything like that.
Hmm.
And I decided I didn't even know what this kid did wrong. And he's tearing into him. I've got no business here. So I went back to the dorm.
I I get you. Especially if you're saying Bob Knight would
Oh,
be
yeah.
give that
Bob
guy a
Knight
medal.
he wasn't even there yet, but this guy set a standard for him.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about your classmates here, Jerry Patton and Jay Thompson. Jerry
Mm-hmm.
captained the team and was voted MVP in 63, 64. And Jay was an outstanding goalkeeper and helped the team to keep that undefeated record at 64. Jerry passed away back in 2021, and Jay passed away in an accident while serving in the Air Force in 72. And Argus High School now rewards awards an award like scholarships, recognizing the top senior male athlete in Jay's honor. What
Mm-hmm.
was your relationship like with them, and what did both Jerry and Jay mean to the team? What was it like to play with them?
Okay.
I
Different
know there was a
relation.
lot to that. If you need me to repeat any of that, that's
Yeah,
fine.
if I forget parts of it because I'm old. No, Jerry and I were closer when we were younger. He grew up in Walnut.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up about a mile and a half from there. Every once in a while, we would meet at like in junior high, maybe even
Mm-hmm.
elementary school. We'd ride our bikes, meet at Leland Cox's house with Wade Odell and maybe a couple other guys and play some
Yeah.
sort of pickup game. We were on the same teams, obviously, as we went through school, but as we got into classes, the classes we took weren't the same. So I didn't see
Mm-hmm.
much of him class wise. Jay Thompson, however, was in my classes, but I didn't know much of him when I was younger because, well, before the schools consolidated, he was Green Township and I was Walnut Township. So that
Gotcha.
we didn't see each other. But once we got to Argus, we saw each other,
Mm-hmm.
played together, got fairly close, got even closer after we graduated because we both worked at Dean's Milk in the summers for a couple of
Okay.
years. And we would meet and carpool, ride down
Mm-hmm.
together, ride back, and talk about, and sometimes just sit up for another hour or so hanging around and talking. So
Yeah.
I got to know him really well there.
Gotcha.
And
As yeah, sorry. Go
well, I was
ahead.
going to say, as far as playing with both of them, they were the two best players on our team. So
Mm-hmm.
it was fun playing with them. I mean, Jay was a a really good goalie, and Jerry was center midfielder or halfback as it was then, I guess. Anyway, and he just covered the field. He was quick and he was good.
Good. As one of the pioneers of the sport and an original member of the Argus soccer program, what do you think led to the game of soccer to catch on so fiercely as it has in Argus? Like, what do you think sparked that pickup?
Well, I think part of what sparked it would be having an undefeated season your second season, and
Settlement.
then after that having the program taken over by Gene Snyder,
Mm-hmm.
who I assume had the same learning curve that Coach Powell did, but he must have done a really good job of that too.
Yeah.
And with his success and kind of the larger family, I mean, it grew. I mean, having a successful program kind of feeds on itself, I would guess.
Mm-hmm. What were you most proud of by being involved with the soccer program and being one of the original players?
Well, I didn't. I guess being one of the original players is something, and then of course
Right.
having scored the first goal, that,
Mm-hmm.
that stands out. And I mean, sadly, that's kind of the high point of my athletic career.
Mm-hmm.
But it's great to have been part of that foundation and all that's followed it. You know, as far as the success, I don't know that I contributed to that, but our team might have contributed to that by having success that second year.
Yeah, absolutely. Having the honor of being involved with the soccer program since the absolute very beginning, what has it been like to follow the program since graduating? And did you ever think that it would become what it is today?
Well, again, when you're 16 or 17, you're not thinking about, building a dynasty or anything,
Right.
which that might be an exaggeration, but it became a very successful program. And to be honest, I didn't follow it that closely for a long time. I mean, I was kind of disappointed that Coach Powell was let go after he had an undefeated season.
Yeah.
So that kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. So it took a while. And then, like I say, later, much later, I went back to watch my brother play, and then I followed them. It's hard not to when they're so successful. It pops up all the time that they've won another sectional or a regional or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Right. What do you think makes a successful Argus player, whether it was then or whether it's today? What kind of qualities, traits, or mindsets do you think that it takes to be a successful one?
Well, you have to be dedicated, but also you have to have an intensity. I think that
Mm-hmm.
since we didn't have a lot of particularly high skill level, we had to have a lot of intensity, and I think that helps
Yeah.
even if you do have the skill sets. And I think now with the history that Argus has, and that you start playing. I mean, we didn't start playing until, in my case, I was a junior, so you didn't come in with many skills like the players now that I've seen on your podcast. I mean, they played since they were, walking or something. So they were pretty good at it. And I'm sure that if there were films of us playing, we'd be shocked and appalled at how primitive it was.
And that's really awesome actually to hear you say that, because that was something when I was playing that Coach Vanderweel would still be preaching to us is intensity, intensity, intensity. Like when we'd be going and practice doing 4v4s, he'd just be like, be intense, be physical. This is your guys' game. Go play it. So that's actually really awesome to hear that you guys were always thinking that same exact thing and that didn't change. Yeah. And then one last question. It's a little deeper. But what has Argus soccer meant to you?
Wow. Well, it's kind of like you said, a claim to fame that I scored the first goal. Although, like I say, that doesn't come up that often unless I really try.
Right.
But it's also just satisfying to know that we were there at the beginning and might have had something that made something of a contribution to Argus being successful. And just knowing, a lot of times if you meet someone and say that you're from Argos, chances are that's how they know. If they know where Argos is, that's how they know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's interesting you say that because I was over at a Westdale football game over here just north of Muncie, and I was asking one of their old superintendent. He was like, "Hey, where are you from?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm from Argus." And the two things he said he heard of was the soccer program and was Phil Wainwright, who was the basketball coach. And so that's kind of how anyone would recognize the name. So that was just kind of funny to see. But yeah, anything else you want to add about that time or anything?
No, I think I had a couple things that I wanted to bring up, and I think I managed to work them into the conversation. So I think
Gotcha.
I'm good.
Awesome.
I appreciate the opportunity to
Yeah,
be here. I mean, I see
absolutely.
other people you've had on have, like scored 100 goals or was a goalkeeper for however many scoreless games or won so many championships. And I'm here just because I'm on the first team and still alive.
Well, it's honestly just as important as those 100 goal scorers. I mean, it's awesome to hear from a person that actually was there when everything started that made Argus one of the best programs in the state. I mean,
Okay.
there's honestly nothing like it to hear stuff like that. But Terry, we appreciate having you on here. We really appreciate you coming through and joining us. That was awesome. And one last time, thank you to Beamer's Drive-In and American Engineering. Terry, anything else?
Not a thing. I'm
Gotcha.
just
Well,
glad you
yeah.
had me. I enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, we did. I did too. Trust me. And I know that there's going to be plenty of
So
people that are excited to hear this one.
okay, so
So
Joe
yeah,
Rogan better look out.
that'd be fun to see him throw up
You're
in the
right on his
comments.
tail.
They're not ready for us.
Okay.
But yeah, no, we appreciate having you on. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.